Hey there, everyone. That sexy nerd is back again, and we're doing a new Nostalgia Critic, everybody. He finally did Edward Scissorhands, and I'm like, what the hell took so long with his love of Tim Burton? Like some would say, too much love, way too much love. But but you know, I'm surprised it took him this long to do this movie. And ironically, I'd never seen this movie until like maybe a year or two ago. No, it was longer than that. But it was a certain amount of time, and I was kind of distracted. I couldn't even, I was kind of like having it in the background, and I kind of watched it, and I just like would eventually turn around and look at it a little bit sometimes, but that was pretty much it. I don't know. I couldn't get into it. But I just know that this was a very big movie, and it's a very big cult movie now, especially because of Johnny Depp. I never really got the meaning of it because I saw like everything that was going on in the movie. I mean, I laughed a lot that Vincent Price was in this movie. I was like, what? And yeah, it was just a very strange movie, and I never really got the point of it. But you know, I guess we can go over it again and see what the critic has to say about it. So why don't we just do that? And remember, please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. And let's do this thing, y'all.
White Grandma, can you tell me a story?
I just realized I never really got that this movie was a Christmas movie. Is it? I guess now that we have Batman Returns, I mean, I guess, I don't know, it seems like Burton really is good at making weird Christmas movies, right? I mean, I'm just getting it now, but now that I say that, he wasn't really that responsible for Nightmare Before Christmas or something? It's all so confusing.
Not tonight, I'm too old.
Please, Grandma?
All right. I'll tell you the story of a very strange man, back when I worked at a YouTube studio.
What's a YouTube studio?
What is up with Malcolm's head? Oh my god, it's like they decapitated him and just placed his head on the sofa and made it smaller. What the hell, guys?
It's like a Hollywood studio, except everyone's even more insecure.
Is that
oh, well,
possible?
YouTubers found a way. Now, shut up. In the studio, a strange man appeared, dressed in black with messed up hair and a pale complexion.
Oh, boy. Tim Burton.
That's right. The boy in high school you always pointed to and said, I think he'll be okay.
Hey, Tamra. Oh, are we still talking about this guy?
Love this.
Of course, my hit show Wednesday put me back on the map.
Damn it, why couldn't we stop watching that?
I knew it wasn't going to be anything that great.
It was like goth comfort food.
That's how I make my living. Hey, guys. Oh, God, no!
What?
If it isn't my biggest fan, the Nostalgia Critic, tell me, how's your Burton Corner? That was a long time ago. I was a teen. I've grown up since then. Clearly. Well, as my biggest fan, please don't call me that. I want to run some ideas by you. Here. This is Oyster Boy on an adventure with mermaids. Well, it's weird, but...
But I kind of want to know a story.
I know, right?
And this is the Pincushion Queen.
I don't know. I'd say a movie about her.
And finally, Voodoo Girl.
Wow, so how does this work?
Does she stick pins in herself and it hurts someone else?
These are all great ideas, Tim. You gonna turn them in the movies? I've already lost interest.
What?
Hello?
Good news, Tim! Beetlejuice 2 is a go!
Well, that's fantastic. So much better than these stupid ideas I was working on. I'll be right there.
Beetlejuice 2?
Tim, your other ideas are so much better.
But I remember enjoying Beetlejuice, just like I remember enjoying Alice in Wonderland, Willy Wonka, Dumbo, The Addams Family, and Planet of the Apes. You see, there's a certain feeling connected to it that you just won't understand. It's called, nostalgia. No, Hollywood has another name for it, greed.
Great.
Well, off to my next underwhelming reimagining.
Yep. I feel like that's the way it's gonna be.
So where are we on this guy?
Petman.
When people hear the name, they immediately think of original, dark, fairy tale-like movies such as The Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, Corpse Bride, Frankenweenie, and so forth. It's honestly impressive a director with this niche a style would be this successful for so long. But yes, while some adaptations are expected from a director like this, he really seems to have abandoned fresh new concepts for revisiting material he clearly has a nostalgic connection to, whether they make sense to revisit or not. But I think we too have a...
Did Tim Burton really do Wednesday? No way.
Nostalgic connection to this guy, and want to see him succeed when he sparks that fresh excitement with a new dark original idea. Similar to what he used to do with films like Edward Scissorhands.
Is this even a Christmas movie?
Yep, this is technically a Christmas movie, and a unique one at that. Released in 1990, right after the monstrous success of Batman, Burton was allowed to tell the story of a young man he drew who had hands that looked like scissors. Co-written by the wildly talented Caroline Thompson. Well, mostly talented. The two of them constructed a modern suburban fantasy combining dark fairy tales and the story of Frankenstein. This honestly makes a lot of sense, as suburbia can feel like a very surreal place, and even the Frankenstein story has a lot of Grimm's fairy tale elements to it. Over 30 years later, does this film have the same magic that made it a hit back then? Well, let's take a closer look.
Boy. So, when does it become noticeable that Winona Ryder is a Tim Burton cliche? Because it seems like she's in everything he's into.
Are you including his review in your story?
Well, is it any different than the boring ASMR you fall asleep to?
I see your point.
Let's take a look at Edward Scissorhands.
The fuck?
The film opens with an old woman, played by Winona Ryder, telling a story to her granddaughter Goldilocks in one of the three bears' beds.
What the hell?
There was a man who
had
scissors.
What the hell?
Yes.
Hands? Scissors?
No, scissor hands.
Idiot. Side note, for 1990, that old lady makeup is pretty impressive. Okay, she looks a little bit like Mitt Romney cosplaying as Maggie Smith, but that just gives her more character.
A long time ago, an inventor lived in that mansion.
He lived in a model town because it was literally a model.
Yeah, I either want to see the HBO logo or the spider from Beetlejuice at the end of the shot.
He also created a man.
He didn't have a name?
Of course he had a name.
Idiot. Seriously, you're an idiot.
Avon calling.
We see an Avon lady named Peg, played by Diane Wiest.
Diane Wiest,
House
that's
to house selling Avon products.
Come on, Peg. I never buy anything from you. You know that.
I know.
Bye.
Bye, Helen.
Like many Burton movies, the casting in this film is pretty great. Every single person has a ton of personality that you understand immediately. Diane Wiest particularly has so much heart and kindness.
I like them both.
Well, great.
You don't actually think I have any money, do you?
She plays the role as optimistically naive, but not dumb. She doesn't always make the best choices, but you know they're always coming from a good place that all of us can recognize and sympathize with. Oh hey, you can see Bo Welch already preparing to have his version of Cat in the Hat ruined in this neighborhood.
Don't know how I always forget that's there. Really surprised the HOA lets that stand for so long.
Apparently a cloud shaped like scissors is supposed to be in the sky, but I don't know, it looks like dick and balls to me.
Why, isn't that exciting?
Thus Peg makes her way to the strangest home a guy who just makes cookies ever owned. She sees many beautiful hedge sculptures. The hand at the center is a nice touch. And she stumbles across Edward, played by Johnny Depp, who with those painted on sad eyebrows is another Burton actor given a permanent expression throughout his entire performance.
Where are your parents?
You didn't wake up.
Oh, that was the skeleton in the lobby I saw.
Yes, just ignore the barbecue sauce.
What?
I think you should just come home with me.
This role was kind of a godsend for Depp, who was sick of being typecast as good-looking rebels and wanted to play, for lack of a better way of putting it, some memorable oddballs, which he as good-looking rebels and wanted to play, for lack of a better way of putting it, some memorable oddballs, which he would end up playing for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Though maybe it's not too big a stretch.
And on your left hand, what is it?
It's a 3, the number 3. A friend of mine, I sat down at his table and I said, well, wouldn't you put a 3 here? You know?
Well, how about that? Yeah, I know, right? What?
I'm sorry.
No, don't be.
Depp plays the part great, always finding a naive innocence that Caroline Thompson said she based a lot on her dog.
The dog? What?
Which I guess makes sense. If somebody told me a guy dressed like that crawled on all fours and barked, it wouldn't surprise me.
Peg drove by, and she had somebody with her in the car.
Did you get a good look at it?
You'll get a pail.
Yes, be right there.
What the hell?
He's brought to her home where he's drawn to pictures of her family.
What was that?
Here's my daughter,
Kim?
My goth tomboy cosplaying as a blonde cheerleader for some reason.
Yeah, I think most people know popular cheerleader is a strange role for someone like Ryder. Burton even apparently howled with laughter when he saw her in the blonde wig. But I think because she usually doesn't play these kind of roles, it allows her to bring a unique depth to it. It's fine to think both these actors were playing against type back then. Technically, these roles should have been reversed.
Right?
We get one of my favorite edits of everybody returning home and just reacting to Ed being there from his point of view.
I bet the view must be spectacular, huh, Ed?
I've lost me pee.
Burton said out of all the actors, Alan Arkin was the closest to being a 100% suburbanite.
Oh, of course.
His ability to both care and not care at the same time does ring true to that culture.
Edward, you did us! Oh, no, it's us!
Yes, it is.
Speaking of which, want a great impression of social media? You're just minding your business, going about your life, then somebody just declares you're evil.
Straight from the stinking flames of hell. The power of Satan is in him. I can feel it.
The Stephen King movie's being shot down the street.
Yeah, right?
They ignore her as Edward suddenly has...
It's like that lady from The Mist just came out of nowhere and I'm like, I was just having a really nice day, man.
The Stephen King movie's being shot down the street. They ignore her as Edward suddenly has a flashback, technically to before he was born. Ah, we're seeing how they make Velveeta.
Why'd I put a celery chopper next to a cookie maker? The two don't go together at all. That was strange of me. I think I'll make a man.
Vincent Price plays the inventor, and yeah, okay, it's a fairy tale. I'm not supposed to question that much, but what is the story of this odd cookie maker in suburbia?
Right?
I mean, was this really just a local businessman who made money with this company? Did he have commercials?
Welcome to Creepy Old Guy Cookies. Our pastries are made with all natural ingredients taken from the heart of a baby goat. We only use the finest hardware straight from HR Giga sex toys and have distribution among such popular names as Keebler, Pepperidge Farm, Beelzebub, and Nabisco. Most factories average roughly 95 million cookies per day, but at our fine establishment, where sometimes the cutters do their job properly, we average 50 in an hour. I may not be a mathematician, but... Oh, I think I did the math wrong. Anyway, purchase Creepy Old Guy Cookies. I'm bored.
Edward is introduced to the neighbors, who certainly find him odd, but
best
kind of like that
commercial
there's something
ever.
different in town.
Now, we'd like to invite you to our card game Friday night. Only thing is, you can't cut.
Well, at least my nose isn't gushing blood. Oh, what do you mean by that? Later that night, Edward has another flashback to being made by the inventor.
Let us pretend that we are in the drawing room and the hostess is serving tea. Many numerous little questions confront us.
One of the best elements in the movie is the visual storytelling. A lot of flicks over-explain everything when something as simple as a book showing the inventor's plans gets across all the info you need.
And guards us from all humiliation and discomfort.
Yeah, screw it. I'm going to make a woman.
Kim returns from a trip with her friends in Optimus Prime, unaware of her new roommate.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I really hate having Scissorhands right now. Thus we ask the age-old question, why were waterbeds a thing again? He's trying things out.
I like
and Kim
waterbeds.
quickly realizes Edward has a crush on her, despite her already having a boyfriend named Jim, played by Anthony Michael Hall.
Kim!
Oh, no.
So weird.
You forgot your cookies.
These aren't easy to come by either. We had an old guy who used to deliver them. I wonder what happened to him.
Speaking of which, this also makes for an interesting economical discussion.
I understand you're not charging for your gardening, Edward.
Marge made him cookies today.
You can't buy the necessities of life with cookies.
No, but you can make a man from cookies.
What's that?
I'm cookies.
Another talent is discovered from Edward, as he can not only cut dogs' hair, but women's hair as well. I love this point in the movie because everybody in the audience is like, when are things gonna go wrong?
Yeah.
People always predict he's gonna give a bad haircut or accidentally nip the dog or just something's gonna go south here. It's great seeing people know something bad is gonna happen. They just want to jump to it because they don't want to get even more attached to this guy for his inevitable downfall.
What did you do to your hair? Edward cut it. Isn't it wild?
Huh. I didn't know he could cut hair. Maybe I was wrong about him. Mrs. Hands.
Things do start to go south in more ways than one, though, as one of the neighbors tries to seduce him.
Why, Eddie, you're trembling. So am I.
His complete cluelessness is amazing to watch. It's like when somebody pretends to understand cryptocurrency. Speaking of non-reactions, everyone's take after Edward says what happens is amazing.
And then she showed me the back room where she took all of her clothes off.
Edward, I can't tell you how thrilled I am. I'm just as pleased as Punch.
The father not even noticing, Kim looking horrified, the son trying not to laugh, and Pig's complete inability to comprehend what was just said makes for a hilarious moment you have to watch more than once to soak it all in.
Get yourself a social security card, establish credit, and buy yourself a car.
They want to open a salon for Edward, but they can't get a loan. And coincidentally, Kim and Jim are having their own financial issues, wanting to steal from his old man so they can afford their own van.
Because my father keeps the damn room locked. We need Edward to get us in.
This is the only scene I have an issue with in the movie.
Really?
They have Edward come with them on the heist, but he gets caught and the cops are called on him.
Oh!
This is what begins his downfall. And it's not a huge issue, but I kind of want something more relatable for the downfall.
Really?
I actually might have liked him more if he did accidentally nip somebody, kind of like what happens later. And everybody turns on him like they were waiting to without even knowing it. I feel like audiences can relate to accidents more than this weird, kind of forced heist plot. I don't know, the point still gotten across, it works okay. I just think this part could have been tweaked a little.
All right, cuff him.
Edward is arrested but let go as Jim's father was told he didn't comprehend what he was doing.
Listen, it could keep me up all night worrying about you. You watch yourself here.
Dick Anthony Williams does a good job playing a very sympathetic cop, even though at times, he's not the best at what he does.
All over. Go on home. There's nothing more to see.
Well, I de-escalated this situation. Nobody's gonna die tonight. Edward reveals, though, he did know what he was doing, and he did it for Kim.
I knew it was Jim's house.
Well, then why'd you do it?
Because you asked me to.
We know I do is for you, Kermit.
Oh, that joke's the best spot for a commercial. All right.
What?
Pig says she still wants to do her Christmas party despite all the drama that happened. Pig says she still wants to do her Christmas party despite all the drama that happened. And everyone makes up excuses not to go, including the neighbor who went after him, now claiming he went after her.
Threatening her with those knives of his? It's a miracle she escaped.
After what happened to me, can you imagine?
I saw it too. It looked like a scissor. What his balls look like? Well, you know the handles that are attached to the...
Edward starts sculpting a giant block of ice because they spent bank on this Christmas party. No, okay, you're not supposed to question it like any other fairy tale. It's a style thing. And Kim starts dancing it to the spectacular Danny Elfman music. I haven't talked about it much, but Elfman's music really is like half the movie.
Yeah.
The choir sounds like what I can only describe as lost, but hauntingly hopeful. Like there's a lot to be afraid of, but there's still beauty worth singing about that pulls you through. If you take the music out of the scene, it looks really weird. Like she just sees him chopping at ice and then randomly starts spinning. She looks high. But with the music, you instantly see why she was sucked into the beauty of the moment. Elfman often said this was his favorite score, and it might be mine too. Hey! But Edward accidentally cuts Kim's hand, causing Jim to throw him out.
I don't love you anymore. I just want you to go. Are you serious?
I'm gonna lose you to that?
I'm losing to a weak, awkward loser? If I knew that, I never would have changed!
Yeah, right?
Edward finally cracks, taking his anger out on all the people who turned against him. Zoo, motherfucker! Zoo! A classic never dies. The neighbors call the cops on Edward, who want him arrested and put away.
Hello, Mrs. Boggs. I'm here to see the man with the hands.
Oh, the proctologist doesn't live here anymore.
No. Oh.
I always like to think the dog couldn't see in this scene, so he's like, whew, thanks, mister, I couldn't see a thing. Ah, monster!
Are you okay?
Yes, are you okay?
He makes his way back home where Kim is waiting and decides he deserves a pity hug. This causes him to have another flashback to the final time he ever saw his creator, about to give him human hands. Ooh, that Chipotle's coming back to haunt me. think there's different ways to interpret Edward touching his cheek? I always thought he looked at the plastic inside the hands and compared it to the blood that was inside the inventor, showing he isn't and never will be human. But I've heard the theory he just wanted to wake him up, but cutting his face showed it was never gonna happen. I also heard he just wanted to give one last embrace, but everything he touches, he destroys. Maybe it's one of them, maybe it's none of them, maybe it's all of them. I like moments like this, where whatever you interpret, chances are it's gonna be meaningful to you in some way. Meanwhile, Jim tells his drunk friend about their breakup and wants him to drive them to her home.
Forget holding her hand. Picture the damage you could do other places.
That's sick.
I'd still watch, though.
Whoa.
Kim's brother Kevin starts to walk home, coming across the guy who told Edward never let anyone say he has a handicap.
Have you caught him yet?
Who?
Him, that cripple.
The puppeteer for that insult comic dog! But Edward sees the drunk driver is gonna hit Kevin, and he saves him, sadly resulting in him getting cut up. We get the trailer shot used in all the commercials. To this day, I still see the promotional credits over this scene.
Oh, yeah?
But the cop lets him go.
He's gone. Let that bother him, all right?
Has anyone considered how Avon can help?
It is all over.
I'm going. No, careful.
The mob is unsatisfied and goes after him, but Kim gets a head start to see if he's okay. Hello, girl. Could you please bury me? I stink. She says Edward is alright, but apparently not for long. There's something so funny about Edward's luck being so bad. Even when he's saved from a bullet, the debris from the ceiling falls on him. They should have had a duck land on his head while they're at it. Jim keeps trying to kill him off, but after he hurts Kim, Edward finally has enough.
Oh. Well,
a lot of people had an issue with Edward killing the bully, and honestly, it doesn't bother me. First off, it is self-defense. I mean, the guy tried to kill him several times. He was even carrying a weapon here. It's a little hard to see. Second, I think it kind of shows the nastiness of the world rubbed off on him. We've seen him crack more than once, being pushed to the limit, so I don't see this as entirely out of character. The same way his kindness can rub off on the harshness of the town, the same way the harshness of the town can rub off on his kindness.
Goodbye.
Realizing they can never be together, Edward says goodbye to Kim, and Kim says that she loves him.
The roof caved in on him. They killed each other. See?
You ripped off his hand?
Is that what you're supposed to do with a dead body?
Yeah, only the ones with jewelry, so I guess it counts.
I'm going home.
I like the one who lied about him is the last to leave. Like maybe there's a hint of guilt in her, or maybe it was hitting her that I got to make out with a 26-year-old Johnny Depp. I have to send my casting agent some coke. Anyway, pleasant dreams.
She never saw him again.
How do you know?
Because I was there.
I was Kevin. A lot's changed over the years. She says she doesn't want to go see him because she'd rather he remember her as she was. But that doesn't mean she couldn't have seen him right after all this happened.
Yeah, right.
He is the father of her kid anyway.
Yeah,
what? Even up there now, I don't think it would be snowing. Sometimes you can still catch me dancing in it.
Naked and gross. Edward continues to do his ice sculptures with the flakes falling on the town, making Florida, at least once a year, a tolerable place to live. And that was Edward Scissorhands.
That's a
pretty damn good flick in my opinion.
Truest state.
And that was Edward Scissorhands. Still a pretty damn good flick in my opinion. Tolerable place.
That's probably one of the truest statements he's ever said.
Place to live. And that was Edward Scissorhands. Still a pretty damn good flick in my opinion.
They really got into
the
it.
visual storytelling, the astounding music, character actors, and that style that is so distinctly Tim Burton at his Burtoniest. It's a film a lot of people think of, but not always around Christmas, and in a way, that's an even bigger compliment. It doesn't need to rely on the holiday in order to resonate with people. It just happens to be the setting, helping give the film even more of a unique identity when compared to other Christmas flicks. It's still enjoyable all these years later, and man, I wish Burton would return to films like these.
Oh. That'd be nice.
Critic, we did it.
We finally did it. We convinced Tim Burton to do an original idea again.
It's called The Boy Who Had Nails in His Eyes.
Nightmarish. I love it.
Yes, we're finally gonna get something new from...
Wednesday season 2.
Well...
Damn it, we were so close.
Let him go. It's better this way.
It's clearly not.
Yeah, but I've lost interest.
Oh, I never saw anything he did again. Not after that night.
You sure?
You could still see his movies. You could still check them out.
No, honey. I'd much rather remember his work the way it was. You see, before Tim Burton, we never had an excitement for these ideas. And afterwards, we did. I don't know if we would care so much about them if they didn't leave a big impact to begin with. Sometimes you can still catch me dancing in them.
This whimsy.
That'll teach you to dream.
Yeah. America. Ha. So yeah, I guess I gotta watch it again. Again, I wasn't all that interested, but you know, I guess it's an okay movie. I mean. It's not as big as Nightmare Before Christmas, is it, though? You know, it's just one of those movies that's, like, really endured. And, yeah, I mean, I guess he makes a good point. But, you know, again, I'd have to watch it myself again. But what did you think? You love this movie? And what other Tim Burton movies do you guys think is really good? Please let me know in the comments below. And remember, please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content. And subscribe if you think I deserve it. And I'll see you on the next episode.